Chosen one. Pause and feel the sacred stillness enveloping you at this very moment. A divine pull in your soul is urging you to listen closely as a profound truth is about to unfold. You didn't stumble upon this video by chance. God's hand guided you here with purpose. That bold 111 glowing on the thumbnail caught your eye and drew you in. Didn't it? In the Bible and Christian life, 1111 often symbolizes divine alignment, awakening, and God's call to step into His perfect plan, reflecting His promise of unity and new beginnings for those He has chosen. Your click was no coincidence. It was a holy invitation to embrace the unique destiny God has prepared for you. Why did 1111 stir your spirit? What is God whispering to you today? This video holds answers that could shift your perspective and ignite your faith. Before we dive into this life-changing message, drop 111 in the comments, along with your city or country. Where are you receiving this divine call? Declaring it connects you to this moment's power. Like this video, subscribe to unite with chosen ones globally and share it to awaken others to this truth. Your engagement fuels a ripple of faith, spreading hope and strength. Let's step boldly into God's purpose for you. Chosen one, let me draw you deeper into this mystery. What you did today was more than just an outward action. It was an act of unseen obedience. The world often glorifies what is visible, the loud voice, the public gesture, the polished image. But God measures the secret places, the quiet choices that no one else notices. That is where your strength lies. You see, heaven has always worked in hidden ways. A seed breaks underground long before anyone sees a sprout. The foundation of a house is laid beneath the soil before walls rise. In the same way, your unseen obedience carries a weight far beyond what your eyes can measure. Today, when you chose to hold your peace, when you chose to show kindness, when you chose to forgive or to stay pure, you released a sound that only heaven could hear. Imagine a soft breeze carrying a whisper through a forest. To most, it fades unnoticed, but to the one meant to hear it, it sparks a flame that changes everything. Your hidden act today was that whisper, and it reached God's heart as a precious offering. Long ago, a woman lived quietly, unknown to the powerful or the crowds, yet known to God for her steadfast devotion. She prayed for her children, gave from her scarcity, and refused to grow bitter despite mockery. Time passed, and her name faded from human memory, yet her faithfulness birthed generations of leaders, prophets, and healers. Her legacy is written in heaven's annals, and so is yours, chosen one. Hosea chapter 6 verse 6 proclaims, "For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and acknowledgement of God rather than burnt offerings." God cherishes a heart that seeks Him in secret. Your quiet obedience today holds more power than 1,000 public displays. Think of a lighthouse standing on a lonely cliff. Ships at sea cannot see the keeper who tends the lamp night after night. They do not know the hours of labor, the oil carried, the weary climb up narrow stairs. But when the storm rises and waves threaten to destroy, that light saves lives. The keeper is invisible, but his obedience is everything. You, chosen one, are like that keeper. Your obedience has lit a flame that will guide others safely, even if they never know your name. There is a holy weight in the unseen. The enemy tries to whisper, "It doesn't matter." No one noticed. You wasted your effort, but hell is terrified of your obedience precisely because it cannot be measured by human eyes. It is written in eternity, and eternity cannot be erased. Imagine a solitary beacon glowing steadfastly on a desolate, wind-swept shore, its light piercing the darkness of a stormy night. Far out at sea, sailors battered by towering waves and howling gales cannot see the keeper who labors in solitude, tirelessly refilling the lamp's oil, climbing steep weathered steps in the dead of night to ensure the flame never falters. No one witnesses the keeper's quiet dedication, yet when tempests rage and monstrous waves threaten to splinter their fragile vessels, that unwavering light becomes their lifeline, guiding them safely to harbor. You chosen ones are that unseen keeper. Your quiet faithfulness today, though unnoticed by the world, kindled a radiant glow in the spiritual realm. A beacon that will guide countless souls to safety even if they never know your name. The unseen holds a sacred, unshakable power, a divine force that resonates beyond human sight. The enemy, ever cunning whispers, lies in the shadows, hissing. Your efforts are pointless. No one noticed. Your sacrifice was wasted. But the truth resounds louder. Hell itself trembles at your steadfast resolve, for it defies the fleeting measures of human acclaim. Your actions, though hidden from earthly eyes, are etched into the eternal records of heaven, where they shine with a brilliance that will never dim. Consider the quiet moments of your day, chosen one, when you chose to act in faith without seeking recognition. Perhaps you knelt in silent prayer, pouring out your heart to God, in a room where no one else was present. Maybe you extended a hand of kindness to someone in need, offering help without a word to others, expecting nothing in return. Or perhaps you faced a temptation that beckoned with fleeting allure, yet you turned away, guarding your heart in a battle no one else will ever know. Heaven saw every moment of your obedience, and in the sacred ledgers of eternity, those actions reverberate with unending impact. Your unseen faithfulness is a blade forged in divine fire, sharper than any steel, cutting through spiritual chains that bind hearts and lives. It shatters cycles of despair, addiction, or pain, cycles you may never see broken with your own eyes. A single act of quiet obedience today could be the spark that ignites freedom for someone years from now. A ripple of grace that reaches far beyond your lifetime, even if you never trace its path. Rest in this unshakable truth. Chosen one, you do not need to prove your worth to the world. The applause of humanity is fleeting, dissipating like smoke carried away by the wind, leaving no lasting mark. But the smile of God beaming over your secret faithfulness is an eternal treasure, a divine affirmation that rests upon you today and forever. Your obedience in the hidden places is a force that reshapes the spiritual landscape. Picture a single stone dropped into a still lake, sending ripples outward in ever-widening circles, touching shores far beyond the point of impact. So it is with your quiet acts of faith. They travel beyond your sight, stirring lives and destinies in ways you cannot yet fathom. The enemy despises this, for he thrives on the visible, the loud, the applauded. Your refusal to seek human praise frustrates his schemes, for it aligns you with the eternal purposes of God. Every prayer you whispered, every act of mercy you extended, every temptation you rejected, these are not fleeting moments, but eternal investments recorded in heaven's annals with a permanence that no force can erase. Chosen one, your faithfulness today is a testimony that echoes through the ages, a light that pierces the darkness, guiding others to safety, long after your steps have faded from the earth. This is the mystery of the unseen. It carries a weight that outlasts the temporary. The world chases what is loud and immediate, but heaven celebrates what is quiet and enduring. Your choice to remain faithful in solitude is a declaration of trust in God's eternal plan, a refusal to trade divine approval for earthly recognition. Imagine a tapestry woven in secret, each thread carefully placed by a master weaver. To the untrained eye, the threads seem scattered, but to the Creator, they form a design of breathtaking beauty. Your acts of obedience are those threads, chosen one, woven into the eternal story of God's kingdom. One day, when the tapestry is unveiled, you will see how your hidden faithfulness shaped lives, broke chains, and brought glory to the Father. For now, rest in the assurance that heaven sees, heaven knows, and heaven rejoices. The smile of God rests upon you, a radiant seal of His delight, affirming that your quiet resolve today has shifted the course of eternity. Picture a blade forged in secret, sharper than any crafted in the open. Your quiet obedience today was that blade slicing through spiritual chains, dismantling cycles you may never see broken. A single faithful act can ripple forward, setting someone free years from now, even if you never trace the connection. Rest in this chosen one. You don't need to justify yourself to the world. Earthly praise vanishes like mist in the morning, but God's delight in your hidden devotion endures forever. His smile rested on you today, a seal of eternal approval. Think again of the harp in the storm. The candle in the cave, the drop of rain on dry ground. Each one looks fragile, almost insignificant, yet each one carries enough power to change the environment around it. So it is with your unseen obedience. It is fragile in appearance, but eternal in impact. When you laid that decision before God today, you touched eternity. When you whispered that prayer, you moved the heart of the Father. When you turned from compromise, you built an altar in the unseen, and God said, "This pleases me." Never forget this obedience is not about size, but about sincerity. Heaven does not rank you by how loud you are, but by how true your yes is. And today, your yes was enough to bring joy to God's heart. Envision a fragile seed dropped into barren soil. It seems too small to matter, yet it holds the power to transform the landscape around it. Your unseen obedience today. Chosen one carries that same eternal weight despite its humble appearance. When you offered your choice to God, you brushed against eternity. Your whispered prayer stirred the Father's heart. By resisting compromise, you raised an altar in the spiritual realm, and God declared, "This brings me joy." Know this obedience isn't measured by its volume, but by its heart. Heaven doesn't judge you by the noise of your actions, but by the truth of your surrender. Today, your sincere yes filled God's heart with delight. Chosen one. The unseen places are where crowns are forged. Every hidden act of faith is another jewel prepared for you in glory. Walk boldly into the unseen, for there lies your greatest treasure. Your life has more power than you realize. Even when your voice trembles, even when your heart feels worn, the light you carry is disruptive to darkness. What you spoke, what you prayed, what you whispered today was not wasted. It pierced through atmospheres. Sometimes you wonder, does God even hear me? The silence around you may feel heavy, but heaven is not ignoring you. The unseen kingdom is stirred every time you move in faith. Your prayer, no matter how small, becomes an arrow that cannot be recalled. It does not dissolve into the air. It travels and it strikes exactly where the Father sends it. Consider an arrow launched into the night sky. Its path is unseen, its destination hidden, yet it flies true, striking the mark set by the Father. That's your prayer today, chosen one. No matter how faint it seemed, it soared beyond the visible landing, precisely where God intended. You may ask, does God hear me? The silence may weigh heavy, but heaven is never deaf to you. Each step of faith stirs the unseen realm. Your quiet words, your trembling prayers cut through spiritual barriers. They don't vanish. They travel, piercing the atmosphere, unstoppable in their mission. Let me tell you about a chosen one who once lived in waiting. He prayed night after night for years, whispering the same words while people mocked him. His family called him foolish. His friends abandoned him. Yet one night, when the time had fully come, the answer broke through. His quiet prayers had been building a flood, and when heaven's dam opened, it poured over an entire nation. You may feel hidden, but what you're carrying in prayer is gathering force. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 affirms, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it will linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Do you see it? Every word you release in faith is stored. It is not denied, only delayed until the right moment. Heaven never misplaces your prayers. Picture a river gathering strength behind a dam. For years it builds unseen until one day it bursts forth, flooding the land with life. That's the story of a chosen one who prayed tirelessly, mocked by skeptics, abandoned by friends. Yet their persistent whispers amassed power. And when heaven released the flood, it transformed a nation. Your prayers too are building, chosen one. They're not lost in the void, but stored for the perfect moment. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 affirms, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it will linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Every faithful word you speak is preserved awaiting God's appointed time. Imagine a letter sealed and placed into the hand of a faithful messenger. You may not see the journey it takes through mountains and storms, but you can be sure it will reach its destination. Your words to God are carried the same way. They do not vanish. They arrive. This is why the enemy tries to convince you that silence means failure. He fears your persistence. He fears your faith. A single whisper from your lips can shatter chains in the spirit realm. This is why you must not give up. And here is what I want you to do in the comments. Type, "My prayer lives." These 3 words are more than text on a screen. They are a prophetic stamp. By writing them, you are declaring that your prayers are not dead, not forgotten, not ignored. They are alive, carried into eternity, waiting for the moment God has appointed. Chosen one, do not underestimate this. Words have power. Heaven hears, earth records, and hell trembles. When you mark your declaration with even a short phrase like this, you are standing shoulder to shoulder with generations who refuse to give up. So lift your head. The silence you feel is not absence. It is preparation. Your words are rising even now before the throne, and God is not deaf to your cry. He is storing it for the appointed time. And maybe you feel weary because the answers haven't yet arrived. You've been sowing prayers into the ground, but the soil still looks dry. Chosen one. Don't forget, seeds take time to break through. When the farmer looks at his field, he doesn't panic on day 2. He knows the roots are working beneath the surface out of sight. That is where you are right now. Envision a farmer gazing over barren fields, planting seeds with no sprout in sight. He doesn't despair on the second day, trusting that roots are weaving beneath the soil. That's your season now, chosen one. Your prayers sown in faith are rooting in hidden places. The silence isn't barrenness, it's gestation. God hears every word, storing them for the moment He's ordained. The enemy whispers that your prayers are futile, but each one is a seed alive and growing. Your persistence terrifies the adversary, for a single faithful whisper can unravel his plans. In the comments, proclaim, "My prayer lives, sealing your faith that your words are not lost, but held in eternity, poised to bloom in God's perfect time." The enemy whispers that your prayers are useless. He wants you to abandon them, to stop sowing, to silence your cry. But the truth is, this every prayer has already been heard, already stored, already marked with God's seal. Heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is aligning things for you. Think of incense rising in a temple. The worshiper cannot see where the smoke goes, but it fills the room, touches heaven and leaves a fragrance behind. Your prayers are like that incense. They linger in the atmosphere even when you cannot see them anymore. So when I ask you to write my prayer lives, understand what it means. You are declaring my words have not died in silence. They are alive before God's throne. They carry power. They will accomplish their mission, and they cannot be stolen. This is not just typing a phrase. It is aligning your spirit with heaven's truth. When you write it, you push back against doubt. You push back against despair. You are refusing to bury what God has called alive. You are saying, "I believe in the unseen work. I believe in the God who keeps promises. I believe that delay is not denial." So, chosen one, take courage. Every whisper you ever gave to God is still breathing in His presence. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is forgotten. Write it now in faith. My prayer lives. Let this be your stand, your banner, your declaration against the silence. Chosen one. There is something heaven noticed today that others overlooked. You carried a weight no one else wanted to touch. While some walked past, pretending not to see, you bent low and picked it up. In that moment, unseen by crowds but recorded in eternity, it became a holy act before the Lord. Your choice to shoulder a burden others ignored caught heaven's attention. Chosen one. While many turned away, you stooped to lift what was neglected, and in that quiet moment, eternity took note. Your act became a sacred offering before God. The world chases public displays of nobility, craving applause and recognition, but you bore your load in silence, no stage, no spotlight, no cheers. By lifting what others bypassed, you mirrored the heart of Christ who carried the cross when none could. Isaiah chapter 46 verse 4 confirms, "Even to your old age and gray hairs I am he who will sustain you. I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you." Your compassion today reflected heaven's love, a quiet strength that eternity will remember. So many rush to be seen doing something noble. They want applause. They want recognition. But you carried your burden in silence, no stage, no spotlight, no one clapping their hands. You picked up what was left behind, and God himself leaned close, whispering, "This is my child." There is an ancient power in choosing to carry what others drop. Look at Moses when he saw his people suffering under the weight of slavery. He chose to step into their pain. He could have stayed in the palace living in comfort, forgetting where he came from, but he carried the weight of his people on his shoulders, and through him, God broke chains. Isaiah chapter 46 verse 4 confirms, "Even to your old age and gray hairs I am he. I am he who will sustain you. I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you." Do you hear the tenderness in those words? God himself carries us. And when you mirror his heart by carrying the burdens of others, you reflect his image in the earth. That is why your action today, though unseen by men, was a mirror of heaven's compassion. Let me give you an image. Imagine a bridge over a rushing river. Travelers walk across safe and dry, but they never stop to thank the stones hidden beneath the surface, bearing the weight of every step. You chosen one are like that hidden stone. The bridge would collapse without you. People may not realize it, but heaven does. Carrying what others ignore is not weakness. It is strength refined in fire. Anyone can carry what is light and easy. But when you bend down to shoulder what others abandon, you step into the heart of Christ himself, who carried the cross when no one else could. You are the unseen foundation of a bridge spanning a turbulent river, chosen one. Travelers cross safely, unaware of the stones beneath that bear their weight. Your quiet act of carrying another's burden today steadied lives even if they never know it. Heaven sees what others miss. Shouldering what's discarded isn't frailty, it's strength forged in divine fire. While anyone can lift what's light, you chose the heavy load others left behind, embodying the heart of Christ who bore the cross alone. Your compassion echoes his. And God himself whispered, "This is my beloved." Your act today, though unnoticed by the world, shines as a testament in eternity's record. That is why the enemy despises this, because he thrives on selfishness, on people walking past one another blind to pain. But when you step in and lift the forgotten weight, you break his pattern. You shine a light in a world obsessed with self. Think of Simon of Cyrene. He did not wake up that morning expecting to carry a cross, but in one moment he was chosen to shoulder the weight with Jesus. That act, though brief, became immortalized in the eternal story of salvation. Your action today may have looked small, but it carried eternal significance in the same way. Perhaps you carried someone's sorrow in prayer. Perhaps you covered their mistake in mercy. Perhaps you stood quietly beside someone others mocked. These things do not appear in headlines, but they thunder in the heavens. Remember this: when you bend low to lift what others refuse, heaven bends down to strengthen you. God himself sustains those who carry what matters to his heart. You do not carry it alone. And there is a secret reward hidden here. The very thing you carry for others becomes the ground where your own blessing will spring forth. The soil watered with compassion is the same soil where your harvest will grow. Chosen one, do not despise the hidden weight. It is shaping you, refining you, making you a vessel heaven can trust. The world may walk past, but God sees every step, every tear, every strain in your heart, and he calls it holy. Keep carrying. One day the world will see the fruit of what you lifted in secret. But even if no one does, heaven has already written it down. And though the burden felt heavy in your hands, it was not wasted. Every step you took while carrying it was a testimony written in heaven. You may not see the immediate results, but in the spirit realm, doors opened and chains loosened because you were willing to lift what others ignored. Your compassion today, chosen one, was a sacred act of sowing seeds in the fertile soil of God's kingdom, planting hope where others saw only barrenness. By choosing to lift the burdens that others ignored, whether a moment of unspoken pain, a wound left untended, or a soul overlooked by a hurried world, you shattered the enemy's cycle of selfishness. Your selfless act allowed divine light to pierce through the darkness of a self-centered world, illuminating corners long shrouded in indifference. Like Simon of Cyrene, who was unexpectedly called to carry the cross of Christ through the dusty streets of Jerusalem, your quiet deeds bear an eternal weight that reverberates far beyond the moment. Perhaps you held someone's grief in the quiet of your prayers, offering their sorrows to God when no one else noticed their tears. Maybe you extended grace to cover another's fault, choosing forgiveness over judgment in a world quick to condemn. Or perhaps you stood steadfast beside someone mocked or cast aside, offering your presence as a shield of love. Each of these acts, though unseen by human eyes, echoes powerfully in the halls of heaven, where angels record every gesture of compassion as a testimony to your faithfulness. God himself sustains you as you carry what matters to his heart, upholding you with his strength as you bear the weight of others' burdens. In the rich hidden soil of your compassion, your own blessings are taking root, preparing to bloom in seasons yet to come. The load you carried today was not wasted. It is a sacred offering etched forever in the annals of eternity, opening unseen doors in the spiritual realm and breaking chains that have bound hearts for generations. Your compassion, chosen one, is like a gardener tending a forgotten plot of land, carefully planting seeds where others saw only weeds. The world may overlook the quiet work of your hands, but heaven sees every seed you sow, every tear you shed, every act of love you offer without expectation of reward. Your faithfulness disrupts the enemy's plans, for he thrives on apathy and division, but your compassion builds bridges where he would build walls. Like a river carving a new path through a hardened landscape, your actions redirect the flow of grace, nourishing lives that may never know your name. The weight you bore today, whether in prayer, forgiveness, or standing with the broken, has shifted the spiritual atmosphere, setting in motion a chain reaction of freedom and healing. Your obedience, though it may feel small, is a mighty force in the hands of God, transforming hearts and destinies in ways you cannot yet see. The Father's delight rests upon you. Chosen one, for you have chosen to reflect his heart of mercy, and in doing so you have planted a harvest that will ripple through time and eternity. Heaven itself celebrated you today, chosen one, with a joy that echoed beyond the visible world. Though no human hands clapped in your honor, no crowds gathered to cheer your name, and no voices rose to praise your efforts, the angels filled the unseen realm with thunderous applause, their voices resounding like a mighty chorus. Why? Because you remained steadfast in the silence, faithful when no one was watching, pressing forward when the world offered no reward. It is easy to persevere when the crowd roars with encouragement, when voices lift you up, and when the path ahead is lined with banners of support. It is simple to run when the air is filled with cheers, urging you onward with every step. But the true measure of faith is found in the valley where the ground is uneven, the fog obscures your vision, and the road stretches long and lonely. That is where you walked today, chosen one, and you did not falter. In the quiet, where no one noticed your small steps, you continued to move forward, driven by a resolve that burned brightly within you. When the world was silent, heaven clapped, and that sound reverberates with a power far greater than any earthly acclaim. Unlike the fleeting applause of humanity, which rises and falls like a passing breeze, heaven's celebration is eternal, written in the records of glory, never to be erased. Picture a vast celestial amphitheater, its seats filled with angels who watch with bated breath as you navigate the trials of your journey. Each step you take in faith, each moment you choose to press on, despite weariness or doubt, sparks a wave of rejoicing that fills the heavens with song. Your faithfulness in the unseen places is a melody that resonates in the heart of God, a testament to your trust in His promises. The world's praise is like a candle that flickers and fades, but heaven's applause is a fire that burns forever, illuminating the truth of your calling. Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 17 proclaims, "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In His love, He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing." Pause and let that truth sink deep into your soul, chosen one. Can you fathom it? The Creator of the universe, the King of glory, lifts His voice in song over you, His heart swelling with joy because of your unwavering faithfulness, your quiet resolve, your refusal to turn back, your courage to walk through the valley. These are the notes that compose heaven's symphony, a music that echoes through eternity. Your journey today, chosen one, is like that of a lone pilgrim crossing a desolate plain with no companion to cheer you on, yet guided by an inner light that refuses to dim. Each step you took, though it felt heavy, was a declaration of trust in the God who sees you. The world may measure success by the noise it makes, but heaven measures it by the sincerity of your heart. Your faithfulness in the valley is a beacon shining not for your own glory, but for the one who walks beside you. The angel's applause is not just a sound, it is a declaration that your life is aligned with the eternal purposes of God. Every moment you chose to keep going despite the silence was a victory that shook the foundations of hell and brought delight to the Father's heart. So rest in this, chosen one. Your steps today were not in vain. They were seen, celebrated, and recorded in heaven's eternal story, where they will shine as a testimony of your faith, a song that God Himself sings over you, now and forever. Your steadfastness today, though unnoticed by the world, sparked a celestial celebration, chosen one, while earthly cheers fade like morning mist. Heaven's applause echoes forever, unchanging, eternal, inscribed in glory. You pressed on through the valley where no eyes saw and no voices cheered, yet each step was a triumph. The true test of faith lies not in crowds, but in solitude, where the path feels endless, yet you keep walking. Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 17 reveals, "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In His love, He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing." Picture it, the Creator Himself sings over you, His voice resounding with joy because you stayed true. You may feel ordinary, but to heaven your persistence is a symphony. Think of an empty theater, its seats dark and silent. A single violin begins to play not for the crowd, but for the composer who wrote the song. The sound rises, echoes through the rafters, and fills the hall with beauty. That is what your obedience looks like. Even if no one else listens, heaven hears and heaven sings back. And here is the truth. You don't need the world's applause. When you walk in obedience, you already carry the melody of heaven. The joy of the Father is your reward. His smile is your crown. But let me invite you into something deeper. If this message touches you, treat your action the same way you treated your obedience today. Not forced, not loud, not for recognition, but as a quiet offering of the heart, like the violin in the empty hall. Let it be a song you play for the one who already sings over you. So if your spirit feels stirred, you may choose to let this message breathe wider. You can press like not as a habit, but as a way of saying, "I heard the song and I added my note." You can share not for numbers, but as a seed scattered like a bird carrying branches to build another nest. And you can subscribe not because of pressure, but because you want to stay in the flow of melodies heaven keeps releasing here. Each of these is not just data. It is another echo in the unseen symphony. It is another instrument joining the orchestra that God Himself conducts. And the beauty of this orchestra is that no one is forced. Every player lifts their sound freely because they want to. So let it be voluntary. Let it be beautiful. If you add your voice, let it be because your heart knows the worth of what heaven celebrates. If not, you are still loved. You are still chosen. You are still part of this unseen music. But if you do join in, Let it not feel mechanical. Let it feel like lifting your hands in a quiet meadow where only you and God are listening. That is how heaven receives even your smallest act, like music carried on the wind. Your response to this message can mirror your quiet faithfulness. Chosen one, let it be a gentle offering, not for applause, but as a note in heaven's symphony, like a lone violin playing for the composer in an empty hall. Press like to add your chord, saying, "I hear the melody." Share it as a seed cast outward, like a bird gathering twigs for a new nest. Subscribe to stay woven into heaven's unfolding song. These aren't mere clicks, they're echoes in God's eternal orchestra, where every note is freely given. Let your choice be heartfelt, like raising your hands in a silent meadow known only to God. Even your smallest act ripples like music on the breeze cherished by heaven. Chosen one, never forget this. No one may have clapped for you on earth today, but heaven filled the skies with joy because of you. And whether you act here or not, that song over your life does not stop. It will keep rising, keep resounding, keep declaring, "This one is mine, and I delight in them." And when you close your eyes tonight, imagine the applause of heaven still echoing above you. It does not fade when the day ends. It lingers like a melody that will carry you into tomorrow. The world may never write your story in its books, but heaven has already written it in light. And one day when the veil lifts, you will see how your quiet yes became a song that changed eternity. Rest now, chosen one. The Father is still singing, His joy is still rising, and His delight in you is unshakable. Chosen one. Heaven leaned close when you chose surrender instead of compromise today. It was a decision so quiet that most would overlook it, yet in the unseen realm it rang like a bell. The choice to give up something temporary, to honor God above your own comfort, that is what made His heart glad. You may not realize it, but every time you say no to compromise, you are saying a louder yes to eternity. Compromise offers quick relief, quick gain, quick satisfaction, but surrender writes a story that never fades. And today you chose surrender. Your decision to surrender rather than compromise today. Chosen one resonated like a clear chime in the spiritual realm, though it seemed silent to the world. By letting go of fleeting comfort to honor God, you stirred His heart with joy. Each refusal of compromise is a bold yes to eternity, trading temporary ease for a legacy that endures. Compromise tempts with instant rewards, but your surrender today crafted a narrative that will shine forever. Psalm chapter 51, verse 17 confirms, "The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise." Your humble yielding was a treasure to God, more precious than any offering of gold. Think of a traveler standing at a crossroads. One path is wide, filled with light laughter and crowds rushing forward. The other path is narrow, hidden under branches with only faint footprints to follow. Few choose it, but when you stepped onto that narrow road today, heaven noticed. That was the moment God smiled and whispered, "This one belongs to me." Psalm chapter 51, verse 17 confirms, "The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise." This is the secret heaven has always honored, not perfect performance, not grand gestures, but a heart surrendered. Your willingness to bow low, to yield when compromise beckoned, was more valuable to God than gold poured on an altar. Let me give you an image. Imagine a pearl inside an oyster. It forms not through comfort, but through irritation and resistance. The oyster suffers, but the struggle creates treasure. Your surrender in uncomfortable places is producing pearls in the spirit treasures that eternity will unveil. I recall the story of a chosen one who once lived hidden, constantly tempted to blend in, to lower the standard so others would accept him. He wrestled in silence, yet every time he chose surrender over compromise, his roots grew deeper. And in the right season, God lifted him up, not because he was flawless, but because he had learned the power of saying no when it mattered. Compromise always looks easier. It promises shortcuts. But shortcuts never reach the mountain peak. Only surrender leads there. Your choice today invisible, though it seemed placed another stone on the path toward glory. Do you know what terrifies the enemy most? It is not the noise of your words, but the depth of your surrender. Because surrender means you are no longer controlled by temptation, by fear, or by opinion. It means your heart belongs fully to the Father, and nothing can bribe you away. Chosen one. This is why heaven leaned close. The Father saw you release something, and His joy was overwhelming. Even if you felt loss in the moment, heaven recorded gain. Even if others misunderstood, heaven understood. Your choice echoed in the chambers of eternity. Your quiet surrender today. Chosen one laid another foundation stone for eternal glory, though it seemed unseen. The enemy fears not your loud declarations, but the depth of your yielding, for it frees you from temptation's grip, fear's hold, and the sway of others' opinions. Your heart belongs wholly to the Father, untouchable by bribes. That's why heaven drew near your release of the temporary, for God's sake filled His heart with joy. What felt like loss was gain in eternity's ledger. Though others may have misjudged, heaven understood, and your choice resounded through eternal halls. Imagine a tree bending in the storm. Its branches sway, its leaves scatter, but its roots dig deeper. Every storm that tests it only secures it further. That is what surrender looks like in your life. Today you bent before God, and in doing so you became unshakable. This is your reminder. Never despise the weight of surrender. It may cost you comfort, but it always brings you closer to Christ. It may silence you in the eyes of men, but it sings in the ears of heaven. And now I want you to mark this moment in the comments. Type the number 3003. This is more than digits. It is a declaration. By writing it, you are aligning yourself with the reminder of God's presence in every season. 3 has always carried the echo of the divine, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. When you write 353, you are proclaiming, I choose to walk with the fullness of God. I surrender to His Trinity, and I embrace His presence in my decisions. Chosen one. What you did today broke more than just a moment of struggle. It disrupted cycles of despair that had followed you even generations before you. You may not have realized it, but your single act of faith became a hammer that shattered patterns the enemy thought would last forever. Cycles often come silently. They weave through families, through bloodlines, through stories repeated again and again. Perhaps it is anger that passes like an inheritance, perhaps fear, poverty, bitterness, or broken relationships. These cycles move quietly, convincing people that this is just who we are. But heaven never agreed with that lie, and today you stood up against it. Your act of faith today, chosen one, was a mighty blow that broke chains the enemy believed were unbreakable, shattering cycles of despair that haunted you in generations past. These patterns, anger, fear, poverty, bitterness, or fractured ties, sneak through families whispering that they define us. But heaven rejects that deception, and your stand today defied it. Like a hammer striking a rusted wheel, you halted its endless spin, setting a new course. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15 proclaims, But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Your choice echoed this, redirecting not just your path, but the legacy of those who follow. Think of a wheel spinning endlessly, grooves so deep that every turn follows the same path. Unless something interrupts it, the wheel keeps tracing the same track. Yet when you chose to act differently today, when you forgave instead of holding a grudge, when you prayed instead of despairing, when you chose peace instead of chaos, you broke the groove. You lifted the wheel onto a new track. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15 proclaims, But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. This is the cry of a cycle breaker. It is not just about one decision. It is about changing the future. What Joshua proclaimed was not merely a choice for himself. It was a declaration that his family line would walk a different road from that day forward. And today, without knowing it, you echoed the same. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a cracked dam water pressing harder and harder, threatening to flood the valley below. For years the pressure builds, and everyone believes the flood cannot be stopped. But then one person rises and begins to patch the cracks stone by stone until the flow is diverted into fertile fields instead of destruction. That was you today. You did what others refused to do. You placed your stone into the breach. There are people who will never know the battles you fought in silence, the tears you poured out in secret. Yet they will live in freedom because of you. Your children, or those who come after you, will walk lighter because you chose to break what could have chained them. You stood as a restorer today. Chosen one, sealing a fractured dam that threatened to unleash chaos. While others turned away, you placed stone after stone, redirecting the flood toward fields of life, not ruin. Your silent battles and unseen tears have paved the way for freedom, lightening the load for those who follow, perhaps your children or generations yet to come. They'll walk unburdened because you shattered what could have bound them. Your courage stopped the destructive tide, turning it into a blessing that will nourish lives you may never meet. Do not underestimate this chosen one. The enemy always seeks to repeat. He thrives on cycles because cycles keep people trapped in invisible prisons. But you are not a prisoner. You are a breaker of chains. The moment you chose differently today, you wrote a new story. Think again of Israel. For 40 years they wandered in circles through the wilderness. The land of promise was ahead, yet the cycle of unbelief and complaint kept them bound. But Joshua and Caleb rose as cycle breakers. They carried a different spirit. They declared a new way, and through them God led his people into inheritance. So it is with you. The wilderness you have walked has not been wasted. The desert paths, though dry, have prepared your feet for the ground of promise. And because of your stand, others will cross into freedom. Chosen one, let your heart rest in this truth. Cycles are not eternal. They may last for generations, but they end the moment someone stands with God and chooses differently. You were that one today. Your action was not small. It was a declaration that it ends here. There will be days when the old pattern tries to return. The temptation will whisper, the familiar road will call your name. But now you know you have already broken the power of despair. What once held authority no longer does. The chains that rattled behind you are now dust. Your stand today. Chosen one declared an end to cycles that seemed unbreakable. They may have lingered for generations, but your choice halted their grip. The enemy thrives on repetition, trapping souls in silent cages. But you are no captive, you're a liberator. Temptation may whisper, old paths may beckon, but you've shattered despair's hold. The chains that once echoed behind you are now scattered dust. Like Joshua and Caleb, who broke Israel's wilderness cycle, with bold faith you've paved a way to promise. Your wilderness wasn't wasted. It strengthened you for this victory, ensuring others will walk free because of your courage. Picture a field of dry earth where the same weeds grow year after year. Everyone expects nothing but thorns, but one day a new hand plants a different seed, wheat instead of thorns. The next harvest changes forever. That is the power of the choice you made today. The future is not doomed to repeat the past. You have shifted it. Heaven smiled because what once looked inevitable has been undone. The blessing of God now flows where curses tried to live. Chosen one. You are not merely surviving. You are rewriting history, and when eternity unveils the tapestry, you will see threads of light flowing from your choice today. Every hidden act will shine. Every unseen yes will echo, and you will know you were part of heaven's great story, a history rewritten by obedience. Chosen one. The ripple of your action today travels farther than you think. Waves do not stop at the shore where they begin. They move outward, touching places unseen, stirring waters that seemed far away. So it is with what you did. You thought it was only a drop, only a moment, only for today. But heaven sees the chain reaction already unfolding. There is mystery in how God multiplies the smallest seed. One whisper of faith becomes courage in another heart. One quiet act of mercy becomes healing in a family. One decision to stand firm becomes strength for those who are ready to give up. This is the ripple effect of obedience, and you, chosen one, have set ripples in motion. your faithful act today. Chosen one sent waves far beyond your sight, like a pebble dropped in a still lake stirring distant shores. What you saw as a fleeting moment, heaven sees as a cascade of impact. God's mystery turns tiny seeds into mighty harvests. A single faithful whisper sparks bravery in another. A quiet gesture of mercy heals a household. A resolute stand strengthens the weary. This is the power of your obedience, setting eternal ripples in motion. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 1 states, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." Your act, released in faith, will return, multiplied its reach far beyond what you can trace. Think of a single spark carried on the wind. It drifts into dry grass, and soon the flame spreads beyond sight, not because the spark was large, but because it was alive. What you did today was alive. It carried heaven's breath, and now it is multiplying in ways you cannot imagine. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 1 states, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." Your action was like bread released into a river. You cannot trace where it goes. You cannot track every current, but you can trust that it will return multiplied. Heaven has already determined that nothing done in love, nothing done in obedience will ever be lost. Let me give you an image. Imagine a mountain echo. You shout a single word into the cliffs, and moments later the sound comes back louder, richer, layered by the landscape. Your word was the whisper, your act was the shout, and heaven is shaping the echo to come back fuller than when it left your lips. Many times you will not see the immediate outcome. That is the way of ripples. The fisherman does not always see where his net has reached, yet fish gather because he cast it. The gardener does not see every root growing, but a forest rises in time. In the same way, your obedience has already gone where your eyes cannot. Picture a voice calling across a canyon, returning louder, richer, woven with the terrain's resonance. Your act today was that call, chosen one, and heaven is amplifying its echo, destined to return with greater power. Ripples don't show their full reach at first. A fisherman casts his net blindly, yet fish are caught. A gardener sows without seeing roots, yet a forest rises. Your obedience has traveled beyond your vision, touching lives in ways you cannot yet see its impact growing in eternity's embrace. And consider this, some of the greatest movements in history began with one small, faithful action. A prayer uttered in a hidden room sparked revival. A coin given to a stranger opened doors of provision. A step away from sin inspired others to walk free. Heaven specializes in multiplying what looks too small to matter. Perhaps you will never know the faces your act touched. Perhaps you will not hear the stories until eternity reveals them. But do not be discouraged by silence. The kingdom often works underground, like roots spreading beneath the soil. By the time the fruit appears, the network has already grown strong and unshakable. Chosen one, the ripple you began today is not fragile. It is carried by God's own hand. That means no enemy can stop it, no storm can erase it, no voice can silence it. What you sowed in faith has entered a current stronger than any opposition. Think again of the loaves and fish. The boy thought it was small, barely enough for himself, but in the hands of Jesus, it became more than enough for thousands. Your act today, though it looked ordinary, has already multiplied in the hands of the Master. Do not underestimate this. Heaven does not need you to be grand. Heaven only asks for your yes. And your yes creates ripples that outlast your lifetime. Your faithful seed, chosen one, rides a divine current. No force can halt, unshaken by storms, untouched by opposition. Like the boy's loaves and fish, modest in his eyes, yet abundant in Jesus' hands, your act today, though seemingly small, is multiplying under the Master's touch. Heaven doesn't demand grandeur, only your yes, which sparks ripples that endure beyond your days. A quiet prayer can ignite revival. A small gift can unlock provision. A step from sin can inspire freedom. Your obedience has woven roots beneath the soil, unseen but strong, ready to bear fruit that will astonish you in eternity. And here is the beauty. Those who are touched by your ripple may never know your name, but they will know the love of God that reached them. And when you one day stand before the throne, you will see faces shining, lives changed because of a moment you thought was too small to matter. Chosen one, lift your heart in hope. The ripple has already begun, and heaven is smiling, watching as your single act of faith spreads like rings on a still lake, wider and wider until it touches eternity. And when you feel tempted to doubt, remember the water never forgets the stone that fell into it. The ripple keeps moving even if your eyes cannot follow its journey. So it is with your obedience, it never vanishes. It only expands. One day you will look back and realize that the unseen circles you began have touched places far beyond your reach. The blessing you released is still moving, still alive, still carrying heaven's fragrance. So, breathe deep. Chosen one. What began as a drop has already become a wave, and that wave is destined to keep flowing until it washes against eternity's shore. Chosen one. Today your prayer pierced the clouds. You may not have seen a lightning strike or thunder roll when you whispered it, but heaven did not remain silent. The prayer you thought was small became a flame before the throne of God. It was gathered, stored, and marked with His seal. Prayers are never measured by volume. The loudest words can be empty, while the faintest whisper can carry fire. What matters is the heart that releases them. When you prayed today, even if your voice cracked, even if your words were simple, it reached higher than you realize. Revelation chapter 5 verse 8 tells us, each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. Can you imagine that your prayer is not forgotten in the air? It is collected in a golden bowl mingled with music before the throne. Heaven treats your words with more reverence than you treat your treasures. Your prayer today. Chosen one broke through the heavens, a quiet spark that ignited before God's throne. Though no thunder roared, it was gathered, sealed, and cherished in eternity. The power of prayer lies not in its loudness, but in the heart behind it. A whisper can blaze brighter than empty shouts. Your simple, trembling words soared higher than you know. Revelation chapter 5 verse 8 tells us, each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. Your prayer rests in a golden bowl woven with heaven's music, revered more than earthly treasures. Think of rain. It begins as vapor invisible rising upward. Slowly it gathers, forms clouds, and in the right time it falls back to earth as a blessing. Your prayer is the vapor. You may not see it rise, you may not track its journey, but it will return as rain in its season. There was once a chosen one who prayed every night for their family. At times they grew weary, believing no one was listening, but decades later, when their children turned back to God, they realized every cry had been stored. Not one had been wasted. Heaven had kept them all until the appointed time, and this is why you cannot stop. The enemy tries to tell you your words are weak, your prayers ineffective. But the truth is, every time you pray, you swing a hammer in the spirit. Each strike may look small, but one day the wall will crack and light will pour through. Picture a key turning in a lock. You don't always know which turn will open the door, but every turn matters. Your prayer is one more turn of the key. Sooner than you expect, the lock will give way. Now I want you to seal this moment with a declaration in the comments. Type, "Heaven hears me." These 3 words are powerful. When you write them, you are not just repeating. You are declaring that you reject doubt, you silence fear, and you stand on the truth that your prayers are not lost. This phrase is more than text. It is prophecy. It is you saying, even when I don't feel it, I believe it. Even when I don't see results, I trust the storage of heaven. My prayers are alive. Your prayers are like a key twisting in a hidden lock, chosen one. You may not know which turn will open the door, but each one brings you closer. Soon the barrier will yield. Declare in the comments, "Heaven hears me." These words are a prophetic banner silencing doubt and fear, affirming that your prayers live held in heaven's storehouse. They're not lost, but alive, ready to unlock divine answers. Your faith in their power, even unseen, aligns you with eternity's truth, where every whispered prayer is a step toward breakthrough. So, chosen one, continue. Keep praying when it feels like whispers in the dark. Keep praying when the sky looks empty, because every word is stored, every tear is counted, and every cry is precious. The bowl in heaven is filling, and soon the clouds will break. And maybe you've wondered, why should I keep praying if I don't see results? The truth is, prayer is not just about outcomes, it is about alignment. Every time you open your mouth before God, your spirit leans into His presence, and that changes you even before the answer comes. Prayer molds you into the image of the one you are speaking to. When you type, "Heaven hears me," you are not only saying your words matter, you are proclaiming that you are heard by the Creator of the universe. It silences the lie of insignificance, it dethrones the thought that you are overlooked, and it reminds your soul that the God who splits seas and calms storms bends His ear toward you. Imagine a soldier in a watchtower sending signal fires into the night alone. The flame seems small, but across the hills another tower answers, and another until the horizon burns with light. That is what prayer looks like. Your spark connects with others, and soon the night cannot hold the darkness. And don't miss, this prayer is not one-way communication. The bowls of incense in heaven are not locked away forever. They are poured out in response. That means what you prayed today may become the breakthrough of tomorrow. Heaven is not only hearing, heaven is preparing to answer. So let your declaration stand. Heaven hears me. Say it in faith, write it with boldness, believe it with all your heart, because your prayer is alive, your voice matters, and the God who reigns forever has never stopped listening to you. Your prayers light the night like signal fires from a lone watchtower, chosen one. Each flame seems small, but it calls to others across the hills until the darkness is overcome by a blazing horizon. Prayer isn't a solitary cry, it connects, multiplies, and pierces the night. Heaven's bowls of incense holding your prayers aren't sealed forever. They're poured out as answers in God's time. What you spoke today may spark tomorrow's breakthrough. Proclaim. Heaven hears me with bold faith, for your voice reaches the Creator who parts seas and stills storms, ever attentive to your cry. Chosen one. Heaven saw you keep walking today, even though your strength felt gone. You were tired, your heart carried weight, and every step felt heavy. Yet you kept moving forward. That alone was worship. That alone was victory. Faith is not proven on the mountain when the view is clear and the air is fresh. Faith is proven in the valley when the ground feels uneven, the fog blinds your sight, and you are tempted to sit down. You walked in that valley today, and you did not stop. Heaven noticed. Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 encourages, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That verse is your echo. Do not despise your small steps. Every weary stride you take is still sowing seed. The soil of your struggle is being watered by your tears, and heaven promises that a harvest will come. Your endurance today. Chosen one was a sacred offering, pressing forward despite exhaustion and heavy burdens. Each step through the valley where fog obscured your path and the ground felt unsteady was a testament of faith. True faith shines not on clear mountaintops, but in shadowed lows where giving up tempts, yet you persist. Heaven took note. Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 encourages, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Your weary steps are seeds sown in tear-soaked soil, and heaven assures a harvest awaits your steadfast heart. Picture a marathon runner. At the starting line, energy is high, the crowd cheers, banners wave. But hours later, when the road is long and muscles ache, the crowd is nowhere to be seen. The runner's strength now comes from within, from a decision to finish what was started. That is you, no spotlight, no cheering section, but determination burning quietly in your chest. And God himself is running beside you, whispering, "Do not stop." There was once a chosen one who waited through years of silence. Each morning they rose though no answer had yet arrived. Each night they prayed though no change appeared. To the world it looked like wasted effort, but to heaven it was priceless endurance. And when the time came, their perseverance birthed a breakthrough for many. That is the power of not giving up. And now, I want you to see your own endurance differently. It is not a weakness to feel tired. It is not a failure to long for rest. What matters is that you did not quit. Heaven calls that courage. Heaven calls that beauty. Heaven calls that strength. Here is the image. Think of a lantern carried through a storm. Rain lashes, winds howl, but the flame inside flickers and keeps glowing. That tiny flame is more powerful than the raging wind because it refuses to be extinguished. Your perseverance is that lantern. It lights the way, not just for you, but for others following behind who would have been lost without your example. Your resilience is a beacon, chosen one like a lantern glowing through a tempest. Rain pounds and winds roar, yet the flame within holds steady, stronger than the storm because it refuses to fade. Feeling weary isn't weakness. Longing for rest isn't defeat. Your refusal to stop is courage, beauty, and strength in heaven's eyes. Your persistence lights a path, not only for you, but for those trailing behind who'd be lost without your quiet example. Like a marathoner running alone, fueled by inner resolve, when crowds vanish, you carry on with God whispering, "Keep going." So, chosen one, here is the invitation. If this word speaks into your heart, you can choose to lift it higher. You can press like not as a duty, but as if you were placing another lantern beside yours, letting the light multiply. You can share not for recognition, but like a weary runner, handing the torch to another, ensuring the flame never dies. You can subscribe not out of routine, but like a pilgrim deciding to stay on the path with companions who walk the same narrow road. Each of these is not an obligation. It is an act of beauty. It is you saying, "I do not walk alone. I choose to carry the light further." And if you choose not to, you are still loved, still chosen, still celebrated. But if you do, then every click becomes another step in the great marathon of faith. Every share becomes another lantern lit against the night. Every connection becomes another song woven into the symphony heaven is already playing over your life. So let it be free. Let it be voluntary. Let it be like lifting your tired hands in worship, not because someone told you to, but because your heart wants to join heaven's melody. That is what makes it powerful. That is what makes it eternal. Chosen one. Heaven saw you walk weary today, and still you did not quit. And because of that, the song of heaven grew louder step by step. You are building a story that will one day shine brighter than the stars. And when you finally rest your head tonight, know this: the steps you took today are not forgotten. They are marked in heaven as offerings more precious than gold. Even your sighs have become incense rising before God. Do not measure your worth by how strong you felt. Measure it by the fact that you did not stop. Heaven calls that victory. Angels call that strength. God calls that worship. Your choice to keep going. Chosen one weaves a tale that will outshine the stars. Your weary steps today are treasures in heaven, more valuable than gold, each sigh rising as incense before God. Don't judge your worth by fleeting strength, but by your refusal to quit. Heaven names it victory, angels call it strength, and God declares it worship. If this stirs you, add your light like another lantern to amplify the glow. Share as a torch passed forward, subscribe as a pilgrim joining the faithful. These acts freely give an echo in heaven's symphony, binding you to a story that resonates eternally. So, walk on, chosen one. Tomorrow's steps will carry the same weight, the same beauty, the same song. And with every stride, the flame inside you will only burn brighter. There is a moment that touches the heart of God more deeply than almost any other when you choose mercy over revenge. The world teaches otherwise. The world says, take back what's yours, make them pay, give them what they deserve. But today, you did something different. You chose mercy, and heaven rejoiced. It is not easy, is it? Mercy feels costly. Forgiveness feels like laying down your shield, leaving yourself exposed. Revenge feels strong, satisfying in the moment, but empty in the end. Mercy, though it feels weak at first, carries eternal strength. What you did today in showing mercy reflected the very nature of God Himself. Romans chapter 12 verse 21 instructs, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." This is the mystery of mercy. It flips the power dynamic. Evil expects you to retaliate. Darkness feeds on cycles of pain, but when you respond with grace, the cycle is broken. What once passed from hand to hand stops with you. You become a wall against hatred, not a mirror reflecting it. Your choice of mercy today, chosen one, broke the cycle of vengeance, standing as a fortress against hatred's flow. Though forgiveness feels vulnerable, like lowering your guard, and revenge tempts with fleeting strength, mercy wields eternal power. You mirrored God's heart, overcoming evil with good, as Romans chapter 12 verse 21 instructs. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. By extending grace, you halted the spiral of pain, defying darkness's expectation of retaliation. Your act shifted the spiritual tide, making you a beacon of divine love in a world fueled by bitterness. Think of water poured on fire. Flames roar, sparks rise, but as the water flows, the crackle fades, the heat disappears, and silence returns. Your mercy today was water on the fire. What could have burned hotter stopped because you refused to fuel it. There was once a chosen one who was wronged deeply by those closest to them. Every reason to retaliate was in their hands. Yet they chose differently. They knelt in prayer for those who had betrayed them. At first it felt like loss, but years later the very ones they prayed for turned back, healed and changed. Their mercy had opened a door no vengeance ever could. Mercy always opens doors. It may not change the other person immediately, but it changes the atmosphere. It moves the unseen realm. It declares that love, not hate, has the final word. That is why heaven treasures mercy. It echoes the cross. Picture a garden in winter, frozen, colorless, lifeless. Yet beneath the frost, seeds wait. When mercy is sown in frozen soil, it feels pointless, even foolish. But the thaw always comes. And when it does, the seeds of mercy bloom brighter than any other flower. The enemy despises mercy because it mirrors Christ. Satan thrives on bitterness, revenge, and cycles of destruction. When you show mercy, you remind him of his defeat at Calvary. You remind him of the day mercy triumphed over judgment, when the Son of God stretched out his arms and said, "Father, forgive them, your mercy today." Chosen one was like spring rain on a frozen garden, sowing seeds in barren soil that will bloom brilliantly when the thaw arrives. Though it felt costly, even foolish, it shifted the spiritual atmosphere, proclaiming love's victory over hate. The enemy loathes mercy because it reflects Christ's triumph at the cross, where he declared, "Father, forgive them," shattering judgment with grace. Your choice echoed that victory, reminding darkness of its defeat. Mercy opens doors of vengeance, cannot planting hope that will transform lives, even if the change unfolds beyond your sight. Chosen one, what you did today is not a weakness. Mercy is never a weakness. Mercy is authority. Mercy is power restrained. Mercy is strength that chooses compassion over destruction. You reflected your Father's heart, and nothing could be more glorious. And yes, sometimes mercy hurts. Sometimes forgiveness feels like tearing your own heart open. But that pain is not wasted. Heaven gathers every tear. Every choice to forgive becomes a seed that heaven waters with grace. Do not let the enemy whisper that your mercy was pointless. He will try to tell you that nothing changed, that you gave and that you lost. But the truth is, the opposite, you won. You chose victory over bitterness. You chose heaven's way over the world's way, and that is never wasted. Imagine a stained glass window. From one side, it looks dark, colorless, broken by lead lines. But when light passes through, beauty explodes in every hue. Mercy is like that. When the light of God shines through your brokenness, your act of compassion becomes something radiant, something eternal. Chosen one, keep walking this path. The world may not understand, but heaven does. The Father's heart beats with joy when his children choose mercy. And one day, when all is revealed, you will see how powerful this moment truly was. And though mercy may feel unseen, it is never unnoticed. Heaven marks the moment you release forgiveness like a crown placed gently on your head. You became more like Christ in that instant than in any victory the world could offer. Your mercy. Chosen one is like light streaming through a stained glass window, transforming brokenness into radiant beauty when God's glow touches it. It's not weakness, but restrained power. A strength that chooses compassion over destruction, reflecting the Father's heart. Though forgiveness stings, each tear is gathered by heaven, each choice a seed nurtured by grace. The enemy's lie that your mercy was futile cannot stand. You chose triumph over bitterness, heaven's path over the world's, and that victory endures. Keep walking this way, for heaven rejoices, crowning your forgiveness with eternal glory, more Christ-like than any earthly win. Do not confuse silence with absence. Just because the fruit of mercy takes time to appear does not mean it will not grow. Seeds sown in tears often bloom into forests of joy. Your act today has already shifted the soil of tomorrow. So stand firm, chosen one. You are not weaker for choosing mercy. You are stronger than you know. The echo of your decision will outlast the pain, and the fragrance of grace will follow you wherever you go. Chosen one. What you did in silence today was far greater than you imagine. When no one was watching, you made a decision to guard your purity. Others may never know. They may never see the moments when temptation called and you turned away, or when compromise beckoned and you refused. But heaven saw and heaven rejoiced. Purity is not about appearance. It is not about impressing people with an image. It is about the choices you make when the room is empty, when the light is gone, when no one else can applaud or condemn. And in that silence, you stood strong. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 10 declares, I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. This is what heaven honored in you today. God does not look only at what the crowd sees. He looks deeper into the chambers of the heart. And he found in you a heart willing to remain clean, willing to fight for holiness, willing to protect what is sacred. That made his heart glad. In the quiet of your heart, chosen one, you stood firm against temptation's call, choosing purity when no eyes watched. That choice, unseen by the world, set heaven alight with joy. Purity isn't a show for applause. It's the resolve forged in solitude where no one cheers or judges. You held fast in that stillness. Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 10 declares, I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. God peers beyond the surface into the depths of your soul and finds a heart devoted to holiness, guarding what's sacred. Your stand filled his heart with delight. Think of a soldier guarding a gate at night. The town is asleep, unaware of danger, and he alone holds the line. Hours pass the cold bites, but he does not leave his post. The people will never know how many enemies were turned away while they slept peacefully. That is you, chosen one. Your purity has guarded more than just yourself. It has protected others. It has preserved the presence of God in places where compromise would have brought ruin. The enemy despises purity because it carries authority. Temptation is his attempt to strip you of power, to trade your crown for ashes. But when you resist, you remind him that he has no claim on you. You remind him of the one who overcame every temptation in the wilderness and walked out victorious. Purity is costly. It often feels lonely, but it is never wasted. Every no you say to sin is a louder yes to heaven. Every moment you guard your heart becomes another jewel in the crown awaiting you. Let me tell you a story of a chosen one who fought this same battle year after year. They remained faithful in the hidden places, saying no to what others embraced. Friends mocked, saying they were too rigid, too old-fashioned. Yet when storms came and compromise destroyed others, this one stood firm, unshaken, and became a pillar others leaned on. Purity preserved them for their assignment, and through them many were saved. Your purity, chosen one, is a fortress safeguarding not just you, but those around you, preserving God's presence where compromise would bring ruin. Each rejection of sin is a bold affirmation of heaven's call, adding jewels to your eternal crown. Like a chosen one who stood firm against mockery, your steadfastness in hidden battles makes you a pillar for others when storms rage. Purity's cost may feel isolating, but it's never in vain. It holds divine authority, thwarting the enemy's attempt to trade your destiny for dust, echoing Christ's victory over temptation in the wilderness. Imagine a river flowing through a city. If the source becomes polluted, the whole city suffers. But if the source is kept pure, life flows everywhere the water runs. Your purity today is that river's source. It may look small, but it sustains life beyond what you can see. Chosen one. Purity is not about being flawless. It is about being faithful. It is about returning to God again and again, asking Him to keep your heart clean. And that is exactly what you did. Heaven has recorded it, and your Father's delight rests upon you. And now, I want you to seal this moment in the comments. Type the number 1111. This is not just a number. It is a prophetic act. 3 ones together declare unity, your spirit, soul, and body aligning with the will of God. When you write 1111, you are declaring, I choose to walk in oneness with the Lord. Every part of me belongs to Him. I will remain whole, undivided, and pure in His presence. Let this be your mark. The number itself is simple, but the meaning behind it is eternal. It is you planting a flag in the ground, saying, my purity is not divided. My heart is one with Him, and I will remain His. Your purity today. Chosen one is the clear spring feeding a river, sustaining life far beyond your view, though it seems small. It's not about perfection, but steadfast faithfulness, returning to God, to keep your heart pure. You did that today, and heaven has marked it with joy. In the comments, type 1111, a prophetic sign of unity, aligning your spirit, soul, and body with God's will. It's a banner proclaiming, I am wholly His, undivided in purity. This simple act plants an eternal stake, declaring your heart's oneness with the Father. And so hold fast, chosen one. Guard the gate. Keep the source pure. The light of heaven shines brighter through a vessel kept clean. And today, heaven is singing over you because you chose holiness when no one else was watching. And when you write 1111, you are also proclaiming alignment with the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. It is your way of saying every decision, every thought, every heartbeat of mine is aligned with heaven. The number becomes your reminder that you are not walking in fragments, but in divine unity. So let this declaration strengthen you. Each time you see it, remember that your life is whole in Him. You are not scattered. You are not divided. You are one with the one who chose you, and purity will remain your banner. Chosen one. What you planted today may look invisible to you, but heaven has already seen the roots begin to stir. Seeds never reveal their power at the moment they are sown. They vanish into the soil, hidden from sight, but within that silence, a transformation begins. What you did today was the planting of a seed. The world often measures success by immediacy, by what can be seen, counted, or applauded right now. But the kingdom moves differently. Heaven celebrates what is hidden because it knows hidden things are the ones that last. A seed buried in darkness is not wasted. It is preparing to rise. So it is with your act of obedience. Haggai chapter 2 verse 19. Promises. Is there yet any seed left in the barn? Until now the vine and the fig tree, the pomegranate and the olive tree have not borne fruit. From this day on I will bless you. This is the promise of the sower even before the harvest blessing has already been declared. What you did today may look small, may feel silent, but heaven has already stamped it with favor. Your seed planted in quiet faith today. Chosen one is already stirring beneath eternity's soil, though its power lies hidden. The world craves instant results, but heaven honors the unseen. Knowing buried seeds are destined to rise. Your obedience, like a seed in darkness, is poised for transformation. Haggai chapter 2, verse 19. Promises, is there yet any seed left in the barn? Until now, the vine and the fig tree, the pomegranate and the olive tree have not borne fruit. From this day on, I will bless you. Even now, before the sprout breaks through heaven, has marked your act with blessing, its silent growth assured. Picture an artist standing before a vast canvas, brush in hand, dipping into vibrant hues to craft a masterpiece stroke by stroke. At first, the colors seem random, scattered across the surface in no discernible pattern. To passers-by, the work appears chaotic, lacking purpose or form, like a puzzle with missing pieces. Yet the artist, with unwavering vision, sees beyond the confusion, knowing each dab of paint contributes to a grand design. Days pass, and the strokes begin to weave together, forming shapes that hint at beauty. When the final brushstroke falls, a breathtaking scene emerges, radiant and harmonious, transforming what once seemed disordered into a work of eternal significance. Your seed of faith, chosen one, is like one of those strokes. It may appear small, even insignificant to those who cannot see the full picture, but it is a vital part of God's unfolding masterpiece. Every act of obedience, every moment of trust you place in the unseen is a deliberate mark on the canvas of eternity, guided by the hand of the divine artist who knows the end from the beginning. Seeds are far more than mere objects buried in the earth. They are profound acts of faith, embodying surrender and trust in a process beyond your control. When you plant a seed, whether it's your time spent in prayer, your acts of love poured out without expectation, or your quiet sacrifices made in secret, you release it into the soil of God's will, trusting that He will bring forth life in His perfect timing. This is the essence of faith, letting go of what you hold dear and trusting it to the unseen work of heaven, and believing that what disappears beneath the surface is not lost, but is preparing to rise. Your prayers whispered in solitude may seem to vanish into silence, but they are gathered in heaven's storehouse, each one a seed waiting for its season. Your kindness extended to those who may never repay you is not wasted. It is planted in fertile ground, destined to bear fruit. Your moments of obedience, when you choose God's way over the world's, are seeds that carry eternal weight, even if their growth remains hidden for now. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3 proclaims, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it will linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Your faith, chosen one, is a seed that waits patiently anchored in the promise that God's timing is perfect. Consider the story of a chosen one who lived long ago, a humble sower who planted faithfully day after day in a dry, unyielding field. The ground showed no signs of life, no green shoots breaking through the cracked earth. Neighbors scoffed, their voices dripping with mockery, insisting that nothing would ever grow in such barren soil. Friends, well-meaning but short-sighted, urged the sower to abandon the effort, calling it a waste of time and energy. "Why toil for nothing?" they asked, pointing to the empty field as evidence of futility. Yet the chosen one pressed on, undeterred by doubt or discouragement. Each morning they returned to the field, scattering seeds with a heart full of trust, believing that what seemed impossible was possible with God. Years passed and the field remained silent, but the sower's faith did not waver. Then, in an appointed season, the heavens opened and rain poured down, softening the hardened ground. Suddenly the field erupted in abundance with golden crops, stretching farther than the eye could see, surpassing the harvests of those who had mocked. Why did this happen? Because seeds carry memory, chosen ones. They know their season. They lie dormant, waiting patiently for the moment God has ordained. And when that moment arrives, nothing can stop their rise. Your faithfulness today mirrors that sower's resolve, planting seeds that heaven is nurturing for a forest that will astonish you. Think of bamboo, a marvel of creation that teaches us the power of hidden seasons. For years after planting, the ground above remains bare, showing no trace of progress. To the untrained eye, it seems as though nothing is happening, as if the seed has failed. But beneath the surface, where no one can see, roots are weaving through the soil, spreading wide, digging deep, and building a foundation of strength. These roots are silent architects, preparing for a moment of sudden breakthrough. Then in a single season, the bamboo bursts forth, shooting upward with astonishing speed, towering over other plants in a display of resilience and power. This is the picture of your faithfulness, chosen one. Your acts of obedience, your prayers, your quiet trust in God. They may seem to yield nothing now, but they are weaving a network of roots in the unseen realm. Heaven is at work nurturing these hidden foundations, strengthening them for the moment when your faith will break through the surface and rise higher than you ever imagined. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 1 affirms, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." Your seeds scattered in faith are not lost. They are being prepared for a sudden and glorious rise. The enemy, ever cunning, prowls in these seasons of waiting, whispering lies to shake your resolve. Your efforts are futile, he hisses. Nothing is growing. Your prayers are unheard. Stop planting. His voice is a calculated assault, designed to make you abandon the field before the harvest comes. But you must stand firm, chosen one, for silence does not mean absence, and stillness does not mean death. Every seed you plant carries life within it, encoded with the promise of growth. It waits for God's appointed time, and when that time arrives, no force in heaven or earth can stop it from breaking through the soil. The hidden season is not a place of defeat. It is holy ground where trust is proven and faith is refined. Heaven cherishes this season because it reveals the heart of the faithful, those who continue to sow when the world sees only barrenness. Your endurance in this moment, chosen one, is a testimony that moves God's heart. Each prayer you offer, each act of love you release, each moment you choose obedience over ease, these are seeds that heaven is tending, preparing for a harvest that will ripple through eternity. Imagine a vast plain under a sky heavy with clouds, where the air hums with the promise of rain. The ground looks dry, but the atmosphere is shifting, the winds are turning, and the scent of moisture lingers. You cannot yet see the drops, but you know the storm is coming, ready to awaken the seeds buried beneath. This is the spiritual reality of your faithfulness, chosen one. Your seeds are not dormant in death, but alive in waiting, held in the hands of a God who commands the seasons. Every act of faith you release is a spark that heaven is fanning into flame. One day those seeds will grow into mighty trees, their branches offering shade to weary souls, their fruit nourishing lives you may never meet. Your children, your community. Even strangers in distant places will find shelter under the legacy of your obedience. The enemy cannot stop this, for what you sow in faith is carried by God's own hand, protected and multiplied beyond your imagination. Isaiah chapter 55 verse 11 states, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." Your seeds, like God's word, are destined to fulfill their purpose, chosen one, transforming barren fields into gardens of eternal blessing. Your faithfulness, chosen one, mirrors bamboo silently weaving roots beneath barren ground, for years unseen yet strong. Then, in a single season, it surges upward, towering above all else. Like a chosen one who sowed tirelessly despite mockery. Your persistence will yield a harvest that outshines others when heaven's rain falls. Seeds know their season, waiting patiently for God's timing. Though neighbors scoffed and friends urged you to stop, your continued sowing builds an unseen foundation, ready for a sudden glorious rise, nurtured by divine hands. The enemy tries to lie in these seasons. He whispers, "It's useless. Nothing is happening. Stop planting." But you must know, silence does not mean absence. Stillness does not mean death. Every seed carries life encoded within it, and when the time is right, nothing can stop it from breaking through. Chosen one, do not despise the hidden season. It is holy ground. Heaven cherishes it because it proves trust. Anyone can celebrate the fruit, but only the faithful endure the waiting. Your endurance today has made God's heart glad. Imagine rain clouds forming over distant mountains. You cannot see the water yet, but the air grows heavy, the winds shift, and you know the rain is on its way. That is what heaven is doing with your seed. The conditions are changing, the blessing is approaching. And even if your eyes cannot yet see, your seed is alive. It carries more power than you can imagine. One day, what you planted today will stand tall like a tree, giving shade to those who never knew you, sowed it. Children will rest beneath it. Strangers will find shelter. Lives will be changed because you chose to release that small act of faith. Your seed, chosen one, pulses with life, waiting for heaven's rain to unleash its power. Like clouds gathering over far-off peaks, the air thickens, signaling the coming blessing you cannot yet see. Your quiet act of faith will grow into a mighty tree, offering shade to those unaware of your sowing. Children, strangers' lives transformed by your choice. The enemy's lies of futility can't stop it. Silence isn't absence, and stillness isn't death. Your endurance in this hidden season is sacred, proving trust that delights God's heart, poised for a harvest that will shelter many. Chosen one, remember this truth: sowing is not loss, it is investment. What you give to God is never gone. It is multiplied. Today you sowed in faith. Tomorrow you will reap in joy. So rest in this. Heaven has already seen your seed. Heaven has already declared blessing. And in time you will look upon fields of harvest and realize it all began with the quiet act you made today. And when the harvest comes, you will see it was worth every hidden moment, the nights you prayed in silence, the hours you gave without recognition. Each one will bloom before your eyes. The soil may look empty now, but heaven has already written your story in green and gold. Seeds cannot remain buried forever. They are destined to rise.